All right, welcome to today's Explainer. We're tackling some pretty heavy, serious stuff today. Every single day, we're just bombarded with these flashing news alerts and quick updates about crimes happening all over the country. And honestly, it's really easy to just skim those headlines, read the latest wave of police reports, and scroll right past them. But today, we're going to slow things down. We're going to look way past those standard headlines and really unpack what's going on beneath the surface. Instead of just focusing on the who and the what, we're going to meticulously break down the why. We are going to examine the very anatomy of a motive and try to unmask the psychological triggers that actually lead to these drastic events. Okay, let's get right into it.
So, this brings us to a massive, deeply psychological question. What actually drives a person to cross that ultimate line and take a life? I mean, it is literally the most extreme violation of societal norms, and yet it happens. Why? Well, by taking a close look at a series of very recent, seemingly totally unrelated crimes from all different corners of India, we can actually uncover a chillingly common pattern here. We're going to see how totally ordinary, everyday situations, stuff like friendships, family life, financial planning, can just suddenly warp into fatal crime scenes. And by the end of this explainer, you'll see that these triggers are rarely as alien as we'd like to believe.
Act 1. Calculated greed.
2 crore rupees. To put that in perspective, that is 20 million rupees. And that staggering figure was allegedly the sole reason a man's life was ended recently in Belagavi, Karnataka. Now, criminologists actually have a term for this. They call it instrumental violence. In this case, an ex-serviceman named Sandeep Manjargay was allegedly targeted for one reason, and one reason only, to claim a massive insurance payout. It's just this stark, terrifying reminder of how a purely financial incentive can completely short-circuit the human moral compass, totally stripping away any sense of empathy just to hit a premeditated goal.
Because when human life is literally weighed against a calculated financial payout, the consequences get grim fast. The investigation into this case actually led authorities, along with local laborers carrying spades and shovels, deep into the surrounding forests. They had to literally dig through the earth just to uncover the physical evidence of a scheme where greed had completely erased morality. It's a really dark narrative, right? It's unearthing the coldest, most calculating aspect of human motivation, completely separate from any heated passion or sudden rage.
Act 2. Crimes of Passion and Betrayal. Now, over in Balasore, Odisha, we see a totally different kind of motive. Here, a bond of friendship turned absolutely lethal under the heavy shadow of suspicion. A dumper driver's life was violently ended by his own friend, and authorities are reporting that this fatal altercation was driven entirely by mere suspicions of illicit relations. It perfectly highlights how toxic, unverified jealousy can become. Unlike the instrumental violence we just talked about, this is highly reactive. It's a sudden, violent explosion that poisons a relationship to the point of absolute, irreversible destruction. And this act of betrayal, it sparked an immediate, massive cross-state manhunt. The sheer geography of this crime just exploded in a matter of hours. The murder was committed in Balasore, Odisha, but the suspect panicked and fled from the eastern coast all the way across the entire country. Law enforcement tracked the main accused, Biren Madai, trailing him until he was finally arrested all the way in Mumbai. And it was only after his capture and confession that the police were able to finally recover the victim's body back in Odisha. This kind of rapid escalation really captures the sheer chaos that follows a reactive crime of passion.
Act 3. Blind rage in the home.
This one is heartbreakingly fast. In Sofipur village in Firozabad, the situation deteriorated in a matter of minutes. Just a minor family dispute begins. But then, in seconds, a father completely loses control, descending into a blind, unthinking rage. And in an instant, it results in a fatal axe attack on his own 19-year-old daughter, Muskan. In the tragic aftermath, her mother, Pushpa Devi, was severely injured simply trying to intervene and save her child. This devastating timeline is a terrifying, stark reminder of the suddenness with which domestic disputes can just flare up and destroy a family forever within a place that's supposed to be their sanctuary.
Act 4. The shadows of superstition.
Now, to really understand these next police reports, we need to define the terms exactly as they appear in the investigations. Terms like Kala Jadoo, or black magic, and human sacrifice. These refer to the act of taking a human life, often linked to occult practices. Fundamentally, this is driven by a false, really tragic belief that doing so is going to secure supernatural favors, health, or maybe sudden wealth. We're looking at this purely analytically, right? Just so we can clearly understand the framework and context of the authorities' ongoing investigations into these darker corners of society.
And that context brings us directly to a really heartbreaking tragedy down in Vellore, Tamil Nadu. A 6-year-old boy named Mugilan died under highly suspicious circumstances in the village of Melpati. Now, what really drew widespread attention and, honestly, a lot of fear is that the incident happened precisely on Amavasya, the new moon. That timing sparked intense, widespread local rumors of black magic and human sacrifice. Now, it is absolutely crucial to note here that we are remaining completely impartial. The police are actively investigating this. They have interrogated the child's grandmother and aunt, and right now, everyone is just awaiting the official post-mortem and forensic reports to figure out the factual cause of death. But just the presence of the motive itself, whether it's real or just a rumor, really shows the lingering power of superstition.
So let's pull all of this together into what we can call the constant triad: greed, emotion, and ignorance. I mean, think about it. The geography here spanned from Karnataka to Odisha to Uttar Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. But the core psychological engines of these crimes, they remain universally, tragically human. Whether we're looking at the cold, instrumental violence of insurance fraud, the explosive, reactive violence of suspected illicit relations and domestic disputes, or the dark pull of ritualistic practices, the methods and the locations change for sure, but the foundational psychological flaws driving these actions, they are a constant thread.
Which leaves us with a pretty vital question to chew on. Are we doing enough as a society to spot the warning signs of these everyday motives before they turn fatal? Greed, suspicion, sudden anger, superstition, these things brew within our communities, sometimes right in front of us. I really hope this explainer has given you a clear, structured look into the anatomy of these motives, and maybe helped you understand the psychology behind those grim headlines. Thank you so much for learning with me today. And remember, always keep analyzing and keep questioning the deeper stories in our world.